Midheaven and Scorpio in the birth chart is one of those placements that just has a will to just get in there and make stuff happen. It just has this desire and determination to achieve its goals to the maximum place. It wants to really put itself in the mix and turn the knobs and make the machine work and really be somebody powerful. Yet what they're doing is they're trying to form connections, reaching out for deep, intimate connections, because that's what they want. They are people that delve deep into their career. They want to dig deep into the secrets. They want to investigate. They want to research. When they are in their own personal situations, controlling the outcome can be the changing factor. In this episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast, I'm going to be discussing this placement of the Midheaven in Scorpio in depth, going through all the characteristics and traits of it. So if you like what I have to say, if you're into it, then you can stick around and subscribe to my channel for more astrology videos like this one, and more shorts and more live streams, whatever else I'm doing. So, Midheaven and Scorpio, let's get started. So the very first thing is that people with the Midheaven in Scorpio, and remember the Midheaven is at the top of your chart. It is what you're trying to achieve. What you're trying to reach towards. It's the highest you can achieve. It's how you can achieve something in the public eye, in the public arena. It is that part of you that just says, I'm willing to go after this, and I'm not going to let anything stop me. And so, with the Midheaven energy, it is high achieving. It is very Capricornian. I want to make a name for myself. Now, let us start at the very beginning. So they really love the act of putting things on display for others, putting cupcakes on display, putting presents on display, putting flowers on display, putting dresses on display, showing others that they're going to take that display and they're going to move it to another location. Because if this party thought that they could take the display and show it to this location and splice it over there and splice it over here and make it available for that particular location and for that particular event, then they're going to prove them wrong and they're going to do something different. They're going to not do what other people want them to do. There's just this rebellious quality of just going your own way with a Scorpio Midheaven. It's just remarkable for Scorpio Midheaven people because they can, really show that with the display, they are not going to mess around with the display. They're not going to take the display and just show it off to everybody in the world. So we're going to do it very selectively. We're going to show the display to very selective people in a selective group or whatever you call it. And they're going to call up their friends and say, These notes and letters are spent to go to the king matriarchy, and they are going to instead, the friends may reject it, or they may approve, and they may send it to the king matriarchy instead of the matriarchy. That is to say that they're not going to do what others want them to do, necessarily speaking. So they can have an incredibly focused commitment. They can latch onto something and they can just commit wholeheartedly. They can just, like I think of Scorpio being in a car and driving to the end of the desert, driving to the oasis. They're so willing to drive that to the oasis of water and plants and flowers, and they're willing to go to that lighthouse in that sea that they're in and sail through the seas to get to that top of that lighthouse. They're willing to make space for waves in their life. The waves to be grass, algae, and coral coming up to the forefront on the tip of the wave, making it very, very spectacular of a sight to see. So they can be very, very deeply focused on what they want, on what they are willing to have happen in their lives. They are committed to what they need to do and what they're doing. And you better believe that, because Scorpio is a fixed water sign, and the definition of fixed water is passion and desire. So with fixed water being in Scorpio, they they find a commitment and they stick to it. They they put all their attention on it, and they put the blinders on, and they're laser focused towards that goal, and they're going to achieve, because they have a will of their own. They're not defined by anybody else's will for what anybody else wants them to do. They will achieve it on their own, without any permission, without anyone telling them. They just they just take the initiative, and they are independent and sovereign in that way. They may show some power over others. They may hold a lot of power. That's certainly true for Scorpio placements, is holding a lot of power. They may demonstrate that they have a lot of power. They may just have a lot of that strong power inside of them. A lot of that force, like, I'm in control, I'm forcing this outcome, I'm breaking the mold of what could be and beginning a mold of what's new. I'm retaking the retake to the maximum, and I am willing to make it perfect. I'm willing to have power over other people, so that I can see, wow, I can be very, very in control of my life. And having the power over others certainly makes them controlled. Now, they may be seen as powerful in the public light. They may be in powerful roles, powerful positions. That's certainly a possibility with this placement, is other people may see them powerful. They may be powerful in the public eye. They may have the light switch in the town at the winter time, and you're going, and they're the one who lit the light switch up, the one who lit everything up in the town. Bell 4, that kind of thing going on. And I'm thinking of an astrologer that I follow right now. Um, so, so they may be very, very powerful publicly. They may be known as somebody very, very influential, very, very, um, very, very up in the charts. Really, really wanting to have a lot of influence over others. And the thing with power is that they know how to work well with others. They know how to play the game. They know how to get along and form relationships very, very deeply. And they want relationships. Yeah, they're also good at secret keeping. They're good at putting things in little boxes and keeping all these secrets and latching on to all these things and not breaking the secret. They're very, very good at at uh, having the secret be in Dante and Tate. That's what they want. Is they can take secrets to the grave. When somebody tells them something that they want to have secret, these people can be easily trusted. That they can be trusted to hold very, very confidential information, very, very private information, and they just hear all these secrets and then they keep them in a certain place, in a certain location. They keep them inside of themselves to be able to store them in a locked and contained corner. They don't just reveal secrets, into the world. They don't just reveal everybody's secrets. They don't go around sharing everybody's secrets. They know the dark sides of human nature. They know the information that people can use against them very, very deeply because it's Scorpio after all. So, they know that they're going to be hurt or betrayed or abandoned or something very dark happening in a relationship. If they should break this secret, if they shouldn't, if they should release the secret out into the open like a sack of potatoes. I'm passing the sack over to this person and the other person and everything like that. So, any challenging situation, any difficult situation that requires thinking it out really, really carefully, having a plan. Because Scorpio can really, really, they can be very, very decisive. They can be very, very skilled at thinking through things really, really carefully. They can map out all the sort of kinks and all the sort of directions. They're kind of bippo. They're kind of seeing all the areas where it could go wrong, where it could go very, very badly for them and the other person, where it could not work out in the way that they're picturing it to work out. They see where what they're doing could be detrimental if you fail a plan, you plan to fail. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a structure, then you're going to go out into the missed and you're not going to find your way back. So it's very, very important for them to have a game plan for whatever they're doing, wherever they're going, really. And so, they're very, very much able to deal with challenging issues. And that is quite the trait. So, um, they really, really want to deal with these issues that come up, with these more difficult, more strenuous issues. They're not afraid to deal with the deep and the dark. They're not afraid to deal with all this very, difficult stuff in that kind of regard with whatever they end up doing. They are not afraid to dissect an issue from the ground up. Not afraid to get into the little details of where this is wrong, where this could be corrected, where this could be fixed, where this could be improved and altered around, and where I could take a little bit of loving kindness and insert it there to make it less mean, less cruel, less unfair, less unjust. There's this desire to transform yourself. Scorpio, remember, is the phoenix. It is the one that rises out of the ashes. It is the phoenix that is there in the Arizona desert, and it is there, and then it dies away. It gets sick or whatever. It gets old. It dies. It's in the ash, and then from that ash comes something new, something brand new, something reborn from that place. So how can you transform yourself? How can you take the previous version of yourself that you had, that you're like, I want to die this way, this no longer matches who I am now, this needs to change, this needs to be released and let go of. I no longer want to hold on to this story. If I've been backpacking for 12 years, I want to stay at home instead of going out and traveling. If I've been working at a desk, I want to have a more active job, for instance. There's this need to change your life. There's this need to change, wherever Scorpio falls in your chart. That's kind of where you, the area of life where you change most predominantly. So my Scorpio is in the 12th house of my chart. I'm a Sagittarius rising, so using the whole sign house system, in terms of my spirituality and reflection, I transform quite a bit. Yet I also have Pluto in the first house. Because Pluto on my ascendant sign. So I have Pluto conjunct my ascendant. So that can be really, really, I have another episode on that. If you go back to, I think, April 26th is when I recorded that. You can go back and check that out. That episode that I did on Pluto in the first is really, really, deep. I go into a lot of information with that. You can check that out if you're so interested. But I do discuss this possessing a lot of power. And I got told once by somebody in class back in high school that you look like the person that's up to no good and keeps secrets and messes around and does it well. Yeah, I don't know. Is it my Scorpio sun? Is it my Pluto in the first house? I don't know. But anyway. So, you want to also help others to transform. You want to serve them in their transformation. You want to be there for them in their very, very dark moments. You want to be there for them in their very, very deep moments, in their moments of huge releasing of shadows, huge purging of all these shadows. That they possess. You want to be there for them in all their moments of grief, of despair, of turmoil, of difficulty. You want to be there in in their moments of hardship, when they're really, really feeling down, when the weight of the world is on their shoulders, and when they feel like they cannot move forward. They're just stuck, they're just depressed, they see no way out, they're just hopeless, they're just so sad and so in the pits of their life. You can be there for them and help them to change and see a light out of that. You can hold their hand and hold space for them and help them to transform the version that they were into the version that they're becoming. And maybe if you are depressed or whatever, there's some part of you that is afraid of change, transformation. There's a part of you that wants to change. I mean, this may or may not be the case, I don't know. But possibly there is a part of you that needs change. But you're not allowing yourself to. You're stuck in the old story. So, that's a trait that you can possess. You want deep change and growth in your life. You want a lot of, you want to grow, you want to evolve in that sense. So there's this need to be completely aligned with yourself when it comes to your goals, having them be true for you, having them be aligned with your spiritual center, having them be aligned with who you are on a spirit-based level. Which is very, very, it's very, very important to you. Is having these ideas be, be there for you, on this level, on this sort of plane of existence, so to speak. So, there is this need to, to have all this be very, very, candidly for you to be having very candid, if that's the right word to use. Where you need to, not just have a goal that you're just seeking and going after from the logical mind. You're not just going after from your head and your rationality. You really, really feel it in your bones. Like, yes, this is true for me. Yes, I'm meant to pursue this goal. Yes, it feels fulfilling. It feels meaningful for me. It feels like a vibrational match to me. So, can you go deep into whatever you end up doing? Can you, go deep into your, into your career? Because you want to dig deep into your career. Whatever career you get involved in, you want to take the deep dive. Somebody I know has this placement, and it takes the deep dive into computers and technology. So Scorpio dissecting, Scorpio investigates, Scorpio gets to the bottom of things, and this person's very, very thorough with it, and I trust that this person's very thorough. And Pluto in Virgo details technical things going on, discernment, getting to the bottom of it. I mean, there you go, working in technology. Aquarius moon, technology, computers, it all sort of combines. So, so this is, what this is going on, with this. So, you go after what truly matters to you. You do what truly, means a lot for you, and make sure that it really resonates for you in your heart. You may feel a lack of, warmth and nurturing that you may be experiencing in the youth that you have went to. Maybe your childhood was most warm and nurturing and loving and accepting, and when you felt held, when you felt accepted, when you felt at peace with yourself. Maybe it involved a lot of self-sufficiency, a lot of having to provide for yourself and others, having to take care of yourself. It's Taurus after all. So weighty, earthy material responsibility sort of was heavy on you, was a heavy weight on your shoulder that you had to probably deal with growing up. So that could be a possibility. So you do a lot. Um, you accomplish a lot, and you do a lot. And you may feel this sense of lack, like you weren't given enough growing up. You weren't given enough resources, enough love, enough care, um, enough kindness, enough nurturing. You weren't given enough of all these things growing up, and you felt just an emptiness inside of you. Just feeling this emptiness, like, okay, now I've got to survive. I've got to, succeed in order to, survive. In order for it goes down back to survival. Like I've got to succeed in order to do that. So they are really, really driven. They want to know the facts. They want to know all the, what's going on. They want to get to the bottom of things. They want to know all the little, deep stuff of what's happening. And they are loyal to the core to what they're doing. And they want to know all the information. And they want to know all the information, all the facts before they go into something, before they just commit wholeheartedly. Whatever career they're doing, if there's something to, like if they're an investigator, for example, they're going to want to know everything about that person, about that situation, about whatever is going on. So, they keep on keeping on. They are persistent. They are committed to whatever they're doing. That's saying keep on keeping on. Just keep on persisting through the rain, through the thunder, climbing up the mountain, sailing through the stormy sea. They uh, they just carry on. They just have uh, a tenacity and a persistence that is undeniable. So they are a force to be reckoned with when it comes to how determined they are. Because they will not be steered away from the course easily. They will not be discouraged easily. They have a very positive attitude towards their work, that they will commit to whatever they're doing, whatever their work is, and they will not waver from the path. They will not veer from the path. They will stick to it, and they will commit to it, and they will, go there. They will be dedicated to what they're doing in whatever career that they get themselves involved into. They're going to be driven towards it. Now, power is defined for them as being in a sort of working with others, working in a synergy with others. Working, because it's sort of like you can be so powerful and so clever and so smart and achieve so much, but what if you could blend your energy with another person, and then you could, be together with another person and combine your skills, combine your talents, combine your abilities, and then blend what you can do with what the other person can do. You come together and you form a powerful, strong bond, an energy exchange. That kind of powerful bond where you can be merging with somebody else, deeply connected in a deep, powerful way to somebody. That's what you desire. Personally, and this does not have to be just sex. This can be just any kind of relationship in general. So, they want to determine whether whether you are right for them or not. They're all about that. And they really, really judge you critically. And they look at you very, scrupulously. They look at you with utter scrutiny. That's what they tend to do. Is they are not going to just go with just anybody. They're going to choose the partner that is absolutely right for them, the most, uh, person that is aligned with who they are. So they're going to want to be very, very discerning when it comes to, the partner that they choose. This person also has Venus in Virgo. So incredibly discerning about relationship, incredibly particular about things. So, so all these things make for sort of the perfect sort of setup, I want to say, for this kind of dynamic going on. So, they want to, excuse me, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry. I had the tendency of yawning, and I try my best to not do that in videos, but occasionally I will forget and it will slip. So if I ever do that, then just know that I have forgotten. So they work hard, and they accomplish a lot also, because they feel their survival depends upon it, on how hard they work. They have to earn everything in life. They have to accomplish everything in life. That unless they work so hard, that they're not going to last. They're just, they've got to, make all this money. They've got to get all this food. They've got to get all this everything. They've got to work so hard. And I'm going to talk about a caveat to that later on in this episode. But that's just sort of a fact about them. They have really, really high expectations for themselves. They expect and demand a lot out of themselves. And they simply cannot afford to fail. They cannot stand the idea, just the idea of failing. They cannot, they do not want to fail. They do not want to, lose a sense of what they're doing and why they're doing it. They want to be committed to it, and they want to succeed. They don't put in all this time and all this effort in order for them to not succeed. So, they avoid anything that cannot prosper, that they can't prosper at. Anything that they can't do very, very well at, they don't commit to. That's not something that they're dedicated to, necessarily speaking. Such as, romantic relationships or committed relationships. They're not the best at relationship because they may, maybe afraid of relationship, yet they really want to be in a relationship. So they're very, very uncomfortable with these kind of things going on, because they're so used to being independent, because they're so used to going at everything on their own, because they're used to surviving and making their way into the world alone, and because they may have issues trusting other people. They may have issues trusting if their secrets are going to be kept, if their lives are going to be under lock and key, if they're not going to be betrayed, if they're not going to be abandoned, if they're not going to be manipulated or backstabbed, if they're going to be loved and accepted for who they are. That's sort of the reasoning behind why relationships can be just so difficult for them, is trust, in that sense of the word. So, they deeply want to take off the masks that they wear. They want to rip off any kind of filter, any kind of, limitation that they have, and the image they put on, so that people, can people only see them for their mask, for their image, for their persona that they put on, for their, with Scorpio, you have to get under, you could have to like, ask yourself, like, really, really go deep and go be beneath the mask and see who they are beyond just that filter that they put themselves on. Because in Cutthroat Kitchen, you're wearing a mask. Out of a challenge, we have to unveil that for every chef to see who you are in that challenge of getting the money and, sabotaging your opponents or whatever you do in that show. So I just thought I might mention that as a comforting neutral line. So, this is about, deeply wanting to take off any, any layer, any mask that maybe, maybe they're holding on to, that they need to release and let go of. Maybe the image that they put on so that people can see them for who they truly are. Well, maybe taking that mask off. And they deeply want to take the mask off so that people can see them for who they are on a soul level, who they are on a spiritual level, who they are for who they truly are. Their likes, their dislikes, their gifts, their talents, their abilities, not the the image, their role, their status, their whatever. And I talked about this person who has Neptune in Scorpio, has Neptune in Scorpio, but Midheaven in Scorpio, Neptune in the 10th house. Um, um, want others to see them for who they truly are in their career. And this placement just correlates to that placement that I was speaking about the other day. So, they want people to see them for their truth, for their authenticity. So they really, 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 really look at you deeply. They observe you. They see you. They want to go deep with you. They want a deep, honest, loving connection with you. They want a real and raw connection where they can really, really bond in a very, very strong way, where they can really, really just break the ice of any limitation, of any featurette, of any kind of divide or distant or disconnection. They want to break the ice. They just want to merge with the other person and connect and exchange energies and exchange bodies. I mean, if they could exchange bodies with another person, then they would. So, they want to go deep with you, that they can know you for who you truly are and not your status, not your reputation. And can you know them for who they really are? Can you really, really get to the core of who they really are, beyond the superficial layers of them? They demand to be known for who they deeply, truly are. And can you be willing, and can you be dedicated? And can you have the skin in the game to want to know them for who they truly are, beyond just the superficial, surface level elements of themselves? That's really the question. So, they want to look into it. They want to investigate. They want to gather up information. They're all about gathering information about the world. They want to gather all this. They may look at the larger group in society. They may gather history, facts, or dig up the cultural remains or whatever. They don't spend enough time focusing on the people that they truly love. They're so focused on collective issues, and the person with displacement has Moon in Aquarius, and that can be very much about looking at the collective, looking at humanity, and being overly concerned with what's going on for the larger group, instead of, it can be very, very difficult in one-on-one relationships. So, they want to, what they really, really want to do is form, healthy relationships, with, with the people that they love. It's very important for them to uh, to focus on who they truly love. Not just spending their time just focusing on what's going on out there with society, because ultimately you could not relate to society in the way that you can relate to an individual person. That relationship takes on a whole other form. In that relationship, you can you can get to know them emotionally. You can get to know them intellectually. Get to know them at a very, very deepest level. You can get to know them inside and out. You just see the behind the scenes uh, version of them if they're in social media, or if they present themselves in group. Get to know them for who they really are, and you really, really get to know them. And it's a deeper, more intimate, more profound connection, instead of just big, broad societal understanding of a culture of which you're not getting into specific people and really, really not knowing them well. So you see the difference between these two. You can see how um, you don't spend enough time focusing on your loved ones, on your family, on your friends, and how that can be um, really, really really, really detrimental to you in your life when you abandon your family and your friends just for what I want for society, just for what I want to explore with society, just for what I want to learn about, what I want to discover about society, just for the pursuit of that, can be very, very detrimental. Um, so they can understand sort of society and understanding what can happen in the future with society. But they can make way, they can sort of foretell the future of what will be happening with something that they do not have any direct personal involvement in. Okay, that's something very, very important to know, because they, with a society, you cannot necessarily control the larger, occurrences of society. You cannot control what goes on in society. You can certainly control what you say and do, and your part in a relationship. Um, it's not easy to foretell the future and really, really get in there, because you want to know what's going on. You want to know, what's going to happen, because you're very, very investigative. You dig below the surface. So, where you play a role in relationships, because you take action, you say things, you do things, and you have vibrations toward the other person that they feel and they pick up on, and they are impacted by that. And so it's not as easy to predict the future in that way. So they also don't want to have they don't want to have all the power and control. They don't really want to be almighty, all powerful, or all power mongering, all very, very powerful, in that regard. They they don't mind somebody else leading the pack. They don't mind somebody else stepping in and playing the role and being responsible for that person. In a sense of talking about power here, talking about those kind of dynamics going on. So they deeply want connection. What they really want is connection, and they really want people to see them for who they really are, having deep connection. They're very, deeply kind individuals, because they want to get to know you on a deep and intimate level. They want intimacy, like intimate. Seeing somebody at the deepest, most profound level. So they want to get to know you on a very deep, profound emotional level. Getting to know your shadows, getting to know your good parts, getting to know your bad parts, getting to know all the difficult parts that make up who you are, getting to know all the parts that were left behind, all the parts that were not loved and acknowledged. They want to get to know you inside and out. Like they want to get to see um, every facet of you, and they hope that you will want to get the same from them. Hopefully, you will want the same from them, as to get to know them as deeply as you want to know, as they want to know you. So, those who don't have this placement, or other people who have Midheaven and Scorpio, if you have multiple people in your life, including yourself, that have Midheaven and Scorpio, that may be, two, that kind of thing going on. But they really, really want to get to know you on that, in that way. And so you can have deep conversations with others. You can really, really form deep bonds with others in that regard. That's a good idea for a career for Scorpio Midheaven, isn't he? Career where you can form deep connection, deep conversation. You can really, really get to know the person very, very well and exchange information and not have surface level conversations, but really, really get to know them deeply and get to understand how they think, their psychology, how their mind works, what their feelings are, what their uh, views are in things, what their biases are in things, what their perspectives are, and that can only come through deep conversing. It's very, very critical not to kill yourself with your work. These are some growth areas for you. The first one is not to kill yourself, with your work, because you can be so determined, so driven to achieve and and get all these things done because you feel, again, going back to what I was saying about survival. But can you find spaces and find places in your life where you can relax? Just relaxing. Just you don't have to work so hard and slave away all the time. You don't have to work so hard and be so ambitious and determined all the time. You can actually find peace, find uh, equilibrium. So what is it? Is it meditation? Is it a walk in nature? Is it cooking? Is it listening to music? Is it taking is it bare feet on the grass? I mean, whatever it is. I know that my dad, who has Midheaven and Scorpio, calms down through playing the piano. So whenever helps you to stop the work, stop the ambition, stop the working so hard and keeping to just constantly be a workaholic and constantly be ambitious at it. It's very, very important to rest, to allow yourself to, because we are human beings, not human doings, and all of us need rest. I need rest. You need rest. We all need rest. So nobody can be on working, slaving away all the time. We all need to rest and relax and find peace within ourselves. And we all need to we all need to relax and just do something fun and just do something very, very just light, where we don't have to think so hard, where we don't have to work so hard, where we don't have to slave away so incredibly hard. Where with this, you can live out a more balanced and peaceful life when you allow yourself to relax. The next thing is to understand when to act and when to sit still, because not everything is in your control. That's the next thing, is knowing what is in control and what isn't in your control. Because not everything is in your control. That serenity prayer. Can I courage to change the things I can with, courage. Yeah, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I think that when you can claim and understand that serenity prayer, that can really, really take you very, very far in life. When you can, knowing and having full knowledge and full awareness of, and being empowered to know what is, what you can control and what you cannot, and really, really pursuing what you can and surrendering to what you cannot. And knowing, when to take action, when to put your foot on the pedal, and when to put your foot on the brake. So it's very, very important to, go on a path that is based on your passions. Whatever career that you achieve, make sure that it is aligned with your deeper passions, with your deeper, desires on a soul level. Because Scorpio was ruled by Mars in traditional astrology. So, Mars was ancient ruler of Scorpio, so it's very, very primal. You know, Mars rules primal desires. It rules the desires that you feel on a very, very deep instinctual level, that are at the very, very, at a whole nother level of, who you are. So, you can, do this very, very well, very, very efficiently. And, yeah, so go on a path that is aligned with that. And then a career where you can uncover what needs to be looked at and go beneath the surface to see what's really, really going on is really, really important. A career where you can really, really dig deep. So just like my dad, who has displacement, computers, digging into, finding out what the issue is with the computers, what the difficulty is with the computer, getting to the bottom of what the problem is, for instance. So, and you want to leave behind a legacy as someone who changed things, as someone who paved the way for change, who transformed life, who transformed the world, everything like that. And you want to grow with your goals. You want to grow on a very, very deep internal level with your goals. You want, when you pursue your goals, when you pursue your career, you want to grow and evolve on an inner level, on a spiritual level, on a soul level, with with these goals that you are, that you are achieving. That you want to achieve these goals at a very, very deep level, and you want to, um, grow really, really deeply in this regard. So, um, y- y- you with whatever you want to be transformed by career, you want to be positively impacted, and you also, the final thing that I just want to leave you with here is you want to look where Pluto is placed in your chart, because that's going to really tell you a lot about this. It's going to really tell you a lot about your midheaven placement, and it's going to enhance it. It's going to heighten it. Remember that Pluto is the planet of death, transformation, rebirth, power, um, all these kind of things like that, going beneath the surface, going deep. So it is the planet that rules Scorpio, so you really, really want to look to that planet before anything else in your birth chart when it comes to looking at your Scorpio midheaven. If you do have a Scorpio midheaven, I assume that you have it if you're watching this video. So, listening to this podcast. So, thank you for tuning into this episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this and found some valuable insights out of this, found some valuable takeaways from this. And if you did, please like it, please share it, please subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any future videos. And I would encourage you to become part of this community that we are building together. I don't have a very, very big following right now. Any little subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it to further this process along and to, to make it so that, we can continue to grow as a community, continue to grow as a channel and what I give, very, very well, so that more people can see this content. When you subscribe, more people can have access to this content, more people can find this content. So, yeah. So if you are on a spiritual path, if you love astrology, if you love deep, insightful, spiritual, psychological astrology, you are in the right place. Subscribe, do all of that, and I will see you in the next episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast. Take good care.